My racist encounter, or who is acting like monkeys. 53 years of recognizing what they call racism. I'm older, however. I got saved at 14, but I didn't learn about God and His Word until 24. And that's when I started to recognize what was really happening concerning racism. I remember my grandmother always talking about white people. My mom and dad rarely said anything. Maybe I heard a few times those damn white people, and that was about it. That's about it. What if I was white? About 6 or 7 years old, after looking at a Sidney Poitier movie.
See that he gets some sleep.
And starts forgetting this ever happened.
How can I begin to thank you?
This is not a high tea, Dr. Brooks. The amenities can be dispensed with.
I prayed to God to turn me white, but if I would regret it, don't turn me white. It seemed to me whites had everything. I always remember that movie, Limitations or Imitations of Life. That's what it was.
Or apologize for my mother's color. Don't say she can't help her color. But I can.
Where a black woman tries to pass for white and rejected her mom. See my impressions? I enjoyed watching Tarzan. But what got me was, here's this white man that was better with animals than the natives. And he's stronger and faster. Why didn't I tell my parents? We moved to a mostly white neighborhood, different school, white teacher. There were other blacks in that 3rd grade class. I had an average 3rd grade reading skills. They had 3 groups for reading: below average, average, and above, or advanced. Which reading group do you think all the blacks were in? The teacher did ask me what group I wanted to be in. I chose the one with the black students. In that group, I was the smartest one, but my reading and writing suffered after that. Who was I to dislike, black or whites? Martin Luther King was shot when I was in the 5th grade, and I remember those riots. This is when things got very confusing for me. They had to shoot Mr. King, but at the same time, I saw blacks burning up our own neighborhoods. I thought of monkeys throwing doo-doo at each other in a cage. Who was I going to be mad at? It's just a helicopter ride. I think I was in junior high when my father put me in the Civil Air Patrol. He had been in the Air Force. So they had a weekend camp with maybe 2 other black kids. You know, it was a bunch of us, but 2 black kids. They gave helicopter rides. Guess who did not get to ride in the helicopter? That's right, the few blacks. They also had a mess hall that weekend. Guess who ended up working and serving food? Me and the other blacks. I dropped out of that youth Civil Air Patrol and never considered the armed forces after that. I remember thinking, all I would be is a chess piece, the pawn for rich white people. I understood exactly what Cassius Clay meant. I also remember not wanting to call him Muhammad Ali. The family from hell. The neighborhood became mostly black with about 20 boys. Enough boys to play baseball, football, basketball. We just all together, we had a great time. Oh yeah, we had our scuffles. Then the family from hell with 3 boys moved in. They were used to gang violence, so they brought it with them. Soon the home break-ins, bullying, taking money and jumping other boys in different neighborhoods. Small neighborhood store robberies. You remember those little candy stores? That grew. Those robberies grew into other things. Then the drugs and drug sales. This was tough on me because I would not hang out with them. So they hated me, wanted to jump me all the time. Then the other neighborhood boys thought I was a part of the gang from my own block. So there I am, go running and ducking, hiding back and forth to school. This kept me nervous all the time, and my grades suffered. I brought it on myself. In some ways, I brought this on myself. No, I brought some of this on myself. You remember those TV series, It Takes a Thief? I felt like white people had everything. They would miss stuff, so I started planned out capers. And I had to use a neighborhood thug to pull off one inside job from a department store. Then they decided to take all the stuff from me when I tried to take it home, or my portion. Where they were not quite smart enough to pull these capers, so they wanted me to join in with them, and I refused. Then it got to the point I carried a gun to school to protect myself that was stolen from the house next door, which I didn't know. I wasn't a bad boy at all, but I think if I had got caught, Whew. Almost cornered me into that life. The bike ride. 3 of us were heading back from a bike ride across town while it was getting late. A carload of white boys came after us. 3 guys, maybe in their 20s. We were 15, 16 years old. We were riding hard to get away, and we started heading around the bend. No car was chasing us. And no Jimmy, which was the 3rd guy. It was just 2 of us. Oh shit. We got to go back and get Jimmy. We head back, and we see Jimmy picking up his bike with blood all over him. We get to the scene, and Jimmy had beat the crap out of the 2 of them. And the one was carrying him back to the car. We knew that Jimmy was a Golden Glove boxer, but we didn't know he was that good. He had broken their nose, and it looked like he may have momentarily knocked one out. My first real job by white people. I'm a CAD engineering tech, mostly self-taught, no formal education. After I graduated high school, barely, I thought maybe I'd look into drafting, so I went to the high school and talked to the white drafting teacher to ask how I could get into the drafting business. He had a want ad of a company looking for a drafter. I only had 1 semester of drafting. That's right, I do remember that. 1 semester of drafting. And this company was way across town where I didn't think any black people were. I cleaned up, drove out there, then they gave me a little test, which I flunked. I sat in the room a while and they hired me. Then, of course, trained me. This was white people. They told me if I had enough guts to come out there and take the test without experience, I could probably be taught. I was getting confused on who I was wanting to hate, black or whites. I wasn't sure white people could like black people. Race over crime. We knew some of the boys were breaking and entering into the houses in the neighborhood. They had broken into every house, including ours. One day, the police made a random stop in our neighborhood and found stolen stuff in the trunk of their car. And people came out of the house and started yelling at the police for pulling these guys over. I was thinking they finally caught these guys. What's wrong with you guys? I was done with that neighborhood. You see, the one family moved in, and really it was one boy in that family that spread that evil in the neighborhood. Sometime later, his own friend got mad at him and ran over him with the car. He died. I celebrated. I thought if they had put him away from the beginning, it might have saved a lot of the boys on that block. My only problem with a lot of black men in jail is if they're innocent. But those that they know are guilty, I don't care if they give them the death penalty. I remember some very cute girls on the block who wanted a little attention. They were not directly raped, but they were put in a position where they could not say no. Genocide. True genocide is allowing the guilty criminal element back into the neighborhood. They will destroy it. Genocides, if you give a monkey a hand grenade, the monkey would eventually pull the ring and kill himself and everybody around him. Are black people like monkeys? Even the Godfather movies, which most black people have a copy, told us that the mobsters put the drugs in the black neighborhoods to lose their souls. Then here on YouTube, you can find the names and stories of many major black drug dealers that did get the planes and direct connections. What excuse do black people have to allow black people to destroy our own neighborhood? We have sympathy for them and worship them who destroy 1/3 or more of our black communities. The black exploitation movies back as far as Superfly to New Jack City, The Wire, and Power, to name a few. In the background, they do try to show how stupid we are for doing it and we shouldn't do it. Empire is to bring acceptance of sodomy into the black churches. It's working. Evil. This evil is happening even in the white communities, gradually taking over a big percentage of their communities. They kind of absorb it into the background because of their population, but it's catching up to them. Evil's real goal is to get rid of Christian belief. That's it. That's the real goal. I don't care what color we are. This evil will use whatever will work, like race baiting, to ignore what is right or what is truth. It motivates people. Evil motivates people by the love of money, self-preservation. As a Christian, I have learned this is all to get rid of America, to get rid of the remnant of Christian belief. It is today the hub of Christian belief. Yes, it is, around the world. This is where false doctrine is creeping more and more into Christendom. Look, love is not a free-for-all. Just because you love it don't make it right. God's love has guidelines. To love has guidelines. Can we allow race baiting to hide truth? A certain disciple.